if his lie was true, and it isn't, spoiler alert, even if it was somehow the sole responsibility of the French, that Dover is now poised daily on the brink of epic chaos, that would be proof positive that we didn't take back control at all. Have a little listen to this exchange with Nick Ferrari today. It was quite nice to hear Nick playing one of his old clips. I must have played it 30 times in the last 2 years, so it was actually quite nice to hear it pop up on Nick's show after all this time. It was a sort of almost a touch of deja vu for people who listen to this program. But here is Rees-Mogg talking through his hat a few years ago.
I wonder if I can take you back a number of years. This is you and I speaking in June 2018, when I asked whether there might be queues at Dover.
There'll be no need for checks at Dover, but it will be an ability to ensure that the roads keep running around Dover, even if there are delays at Calais. The delays will not be at Dover, they will be at Calais.
The delays will not be at Dover. You'll be aware 2 weeks ago it was actually declared a critical incident. Some people spent 12 hours in their cars, lorry drivers passed out, and children defecated in the lay-by. A response to what you said some years ago, Mr. Rees-Mogg.
Well, the response is that the delays are caused by the French.
But you said there'd be no delays at Dover, Mr. Rees-Mogg.
Yeah, but they are French-created delays.
But they are
French
at Dover,
decided.
Are you prepared to apologise that you got that wrong?
Yes, of course I got that wrong, but I got it wrong for the right reason, if I may put it that way.
Do expand.
The point I was making was that the only delays would be caused by the French if they decided not to allow British people to pass through freely. They have decided to do that. They failed to get people to turn up. And that is what caused the delays in Dover, because we have juxtaposed border controls, which means that we check people in Calais and the French check people in Dover. And actually, that means that if the French don't operate their system properly, we get the delays. It's why I was saying that British people might think that going to Portugal is more fun, because the Portuguese want us to go and the French are being very difficult. And why should we go and spend our hard-earned money in France if the French don't want us?
Are you suggesting we boycott one of our closest European neighbours, Mr. Rees-Mogg?
I'm not suggesting a boycott. I'm just suggesting that Portugal has made e-gates available to British tourists, and that there's something to be said for supporting people who support you.
Not getting off a boat, it hasn't. But of course, Rees-Mogg again leaves us wondering whether he is spectacularly dishonest or spectacularly stupid. And that's the question I've got for you this morning. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, forced to admit he was horribly wrong about delays in Dover because he didn't understand what being a third country would mean. I'm afraid there is no wiggle room here. He didn't understand what being a third country would mean for a cross-channel crossing. Well, does that make him, in your view, and I would love to talk to you, do you know what worries me ever so slightly? Is that if you're feeling mugged today, if you're feeling a bit stupid, if you're feeling conned, you're going to get cross with me again for being right. Now, you voted because you believe people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, and you know, Nick was also supportive of Brexit as well. It's important to remember how many voices were in that camp telling you that it would be a good idea that you should vote to leave the European Union. Well, the ridiculously inadequate Remain campaign was warning you about, for example, delays in Dover. Some people took the trouble to explain why they would be inevitable, and some people just sort of crossed their fingers, closed their eyes and hoped for the best. So now that Jacob Rees-Mogg is humiliating himself now every time he opens his mouth, do you think he is stupid or dishonest? 0345 60 60 973. And obviously, they're not mutually exclusive, but do enter into the spirit of the inquiry. They don't just all ring in and say both. Is it in any way inexcusable?
Wait, it can be done. Wait, it can be done.
Someday they could unlock a 4K 60 streaming mode, but for my use case, 1080p 60 is more than enough. At this point, I'd really recommend switching over to the PC or Mac and using the software instead. For launching the setup software, I can already see the Web Presenter HD pop up because it's already on my network. So I'll go in and configure it. The built-in destinations are listed in the platforms dropdown. Choosing one of these, like YouTube, entering a streaming key, and then pressing on air gets me online pretty fast. Back on the front panel, I can see that I'm on air and the status is okay. And over here in the YouTube Control Center, I can see my feed is coming in nicely. On the front panel, you have this lock button, and pressing and holding that for a few seconds will actually lock the front panel. And this will help you avoid stopping the stream accidentally or anything like that. You can see here as I press off, it's not actually working. I'll just hold lock for a few more seconds and all the buttons become active again. I think one of the coolest and most eye-catching parts of the device is this monitor output.